What's going on, everyone? It is MC Politics, and welcome guys back to a brand new video. But before we get started, make sure you leave a like down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new or enjoyed today's content. Questions, concerns, thoughts, or any comments you have, go in the comment section below this video, and make sure you hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss out on any future videos. And let's go ahead and get started with today's video. So today I wanted to go ahead and fill out a 2026 House of Representatives map for the 2026 midterms, because we did one for the governorship, the Senate. We did a Senate map. We did one for state Senate, state House. I plan on doing one for Attorney General just for a little special video. There's not really too much to talk about in terms of Attorney General elections yet. That would be more to talk about once we get closer to 2026, just because many candidates haven't announced yet. But we're going to go ahead and fill out a House of Representatives maps because this could actually get a little bit interesting. I view the current House right now as a toss-up heading into 2026. Democrats probably do have a slight advantage to win back the House of Representatives. However, polling is showing that their favorability ratings right now and approval ratings are not exactly doing so good. Because according to Twitter, Donald Trump right now, in a poll conducted from March 14th to March 17th, he has a 19% or 19-point advantage in approval rating, with 49% over Democrats, who are at 30% right now, which is approaching W. Bush numbers leading into the 2008 years, which is not a position that they want to be in. And even against the Republicans have a 13-point advantage over Democrats, with a 43% approval rating as a whole for their party. So, and these are done by the same pollster, Beacon and Shaw. It's not necessarily a position the Democrats want to be in at this current time. Many have said that there is going to be a blue wave that would happen in 2026. However, the national environment, I really don't see becoming a D+9 environment like it was in 2018. I see it at best being maybe like D+2 as of right now, maybe D+3, 4, maybe to get to 5 if they're having a good day and they get their favorability ratings up. But they had much better favorability ratings, and they were even rivaling Donald Trump at that point in time, with Donald Trump having like below 40 approval ratings heading into 2018. Right now he has around mid 40s heading into 2026. And the generic ballot overall is sitting at around an even playing field for the Democrats, having a little bit of a better advantage. America First Insight has a R plus 1.8 advantage for the Republican Party there. So that's going to be something to keep an eye on as far as the generic ballot goes, because there's going to be many districts that are up for grabs in many swing states that are going to be vital for Republicans to holding the House. Now, could they hold the House? It is very well plausible, but I still expect that over time, Democrats will get back their favorability ratings. You'll see the generic ballot start to change. They'll probably get a little bit of their act together heading into 2026, and they'll at least be able to win back the House according to the map that I'm going to be making here. It might not be a big majority, but I see like a 2026 repeat happen, or not, or like a repeat of 2022 happening in 2026 is what I meant to say. Excuse me on that part. And then Cook Political Report gives Republicans at a 212 seat advantage right now over Democrats 205, with 18 toss-up seats at this current time. So this idea that Republicans can't retain control of the House, it's not necessarily really there yet as of right now. Again, it could happen, but we aren't seeing it right now in the current numbers that we have here. So we're going to go ahead and fill out the map here. I fill out all of the safe blue and red districts right now because there's too many that we need to go over in this video, and I don't want it to be just me rambling on for like an hour long talking about many districts that we don't really need to talk about here. So we're going to go ahead and move over into the West Coast, and then we will go ahead and work our way over to the East Coast. And I'll save some districts for last just in case they are special that we need to talk about. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and unlock the map here so that I can move the map over and we can focus state by state with each of their districts. We'll just go ahead and start with Washington here, where we're going to talk about Washington 3rd. Now, MGP Mary Perez, She ended up defeating Joe Kent both times in 2022 and 2024 by a very narrow margin. 2022 and 2024 she did better in the suburbs against Joe Kent. Joe Kent is someone who had scandals with many Bernie staffers fundraising and campaigning for him in the 2022 midterm elections, and he also had a lot of controversy surrounding Christ being too divisive within his own party at the current time. He was seen as unelectable within many moderate voters and many moderate platforms as far as analysts have been concerned. Overall, I think if Joe Kent runs again, it probably is going to be like maybe lean to likely. I think right now Perez does hold on by around 3 to 5 points. Heading over in Oregon 5th here, Chavez DeRemer ended up losing re-election in 2024 when she pulled off a shocking upset in the 2022 midterms. Moving over into Oregon, we could take a look here. I probably should have pulled up the New York Times for this one, but I was kind of rushed into getting this video quickly because I wanted to make way for some other content, so I do apologize for that one here. So yeah, about a 2-point victory in this district in a presidential year with Donald Trump on the ballot. I think it probably does get around lean blue, probably maybe about like a 3-4 point victory in that district for the Democrats. We'll go ahead and move over into California here. Kevin Kiley, he should win by around a likely margin or so, in my opinion. There's not really necessarily a lot of areas where Democrats really have to do well in as far as this district goes. Some of the populated areas have a lot more Republican voters in this district, so it's going to be kind of hard for Democrats to find the numbers to be able to keep this district competitive. Could it be under 10? It very well could, and that's where I'm probably going to leave it as of right now. David Valadao, she should have no problem holding on. That one's likely. Young Kim, she ended up winning by double digits in a district that Trump narrowly won in 2024 and Joe Biden narrowly won in 2020. She ended up outperforming Donald Trump in 2020. In 2022, she won by double digits. 2024, she won by double digits. I think she should win by at least a likely margin, I believe, and we're going to keep that as that. Over in, I believe that is California 27th. Yes, George Whiteside defeated Mike Garcia in a shocking upset when many thought that Mike Garcia was more of like an electoral juggernaut in that district. When he defeated Christy Smith 3 times in that district flipped red in a 2020 special election after there was affair surrounding a Democrat. I forgot her name, running, who used to run in that district where she won in 2018. It was more of a purple district then. It was like D+5. This one's around D+8. I think without Mike Garcia running in this and it being more of like a bluer district this time around, I think the Democrats are going to hold on to this district relatively easily. Over here in some of these Orange County districts, I think without Orange County being competitive, it's not going to be that much in play. I'm probably going to put these ones both as likely D in that regards. Jim Costa, you should win likely there. Josh Harder, that one will be likely. California 13th. Yes, this was the John Duarte district. Now, John Duarte, I believe, was the candidate that lost for that district. Yes. He had a lot. He didn't really have a lot going in his direction in 2024 with the fact that he caved on immigration a lot in his congressional voting record. Whereas Donald Trump won this district by around 7 or 8 points, he narrowly lost to a Democrat in this district, which is kind of interesting to see because usually Republicans would outperform Donald Trump in the state of California, but Donald Trump outperformed a lot of Republicans and Republican like district level candidates in the 2024 election. I think if John Duarte runs again, he could have a potential to win, but I think Adam Gray, as of right now, should hold on very narrowly in that district. Ken Calvert over here in California, 41st. He's not necessarily the biggest overperformer. He's kind of an underperformer. He's a lazy campaigner, not really a good Republican candidate for that district. Can he win? He probably does win. Democrats probably could win this district if they're having a good generic ballot heading into the 2026 midterms. But we're going to go ahead and put that one into the Republican column until we get more on that. Moving over into California 45th, Derek Tran. He ended up, again, outperforming Kamala Harris in the district, I believe. Or I think this might have been a district that Donald Trump probably narrowly lost. Let me actually look at this. I think, it glitched out of me. Oh, my bad. I don't know why, but I didn't do this map on 270 to win because there have been a lot of glitches that have been happening on this app in particular. So I decided to opt to doing one on YapMS instead. But we can go on here to 270 to win. And yes, this is a district that Donald Trump narrowly did worse in compared to Michelle Steele. I think Derek Tran, he has good appeal with the Vietnamese and a lot of like Asian American voters in that district. I think he probably will win this district. Very narrowly by like around like a point or under. It's going to be a close district either way if Michelle Steele runs. I think she's going to run again, but I think he probably will hold on as of right now. Over here in Nevada, I think the only one that could really get competitive here is the third district with Susie Lee. That one probably might be lean. The other two are probably going to be likely. I really don't see Republicans contesting these House seats as of right now with the way that they're drawn into the Las Vegas area here. So it's going to be kind of hard for Republicans to win these districts. Over here in Montana, we're going to get this one out of the way. Ryan Zinke, he performed pretty well in 2024. If we take a look at Montana, it's not 270 to win. Otherwise, I look there. Yeah, so Ryan Zinke, he won by around 8 points. He narrowly won in by like around 2 or 3 points. He's kind of underperformer in Montana politics. He's not really that great of an electable candidate for Republicans in that district. He's probably going to underperform in 2026 just because I don't see Donald Trump on the ballot really carrying him to a 8-point victory. And plus also, that's weird that you see the Libertarian candidate getting that much, but Ryan Zinke winning by 8 points. Usually the Libertarians would drag it down though, but there was a lot higher turnout in 2024, so I could probably see why there. Overall, beside my rambling, I don't know why I ramble on. I do apologize about that. Ryan Zinke probably is going to win by around a lean margin. I think he's probably going to win by like maybe around 4 or 5 points. He's going to underperform from 2024 based on what I see currently right now. Colorado, let's get this one out of the way. Colorado's GOP is kind of on a downward trajectory as far as trends go as of right now, and we could go ahead and take a look at this here. In 2024, we'll start with the district that Lauren Boebert carpetbagged to, which is the 4th district. She only won by like around 11 points, I believe. She won by a little bit above a safe margin, though, but Lauren Boebert isn't really that liked of a Republican. She ended up having a controversy where she threw a badge away honoring the victims of the Uvalde school shooting in 2022. She threw that in the trash, so she had that controversy going against her. She has a lot of baggage surrounding her. Some controversy surrounding some of the House votes that were happening with Kevin McCarthy. She's not really that likable according to many voters in her district. Overall, she's not a good candidate that well for Republicans. I think this one probably I'm going to put as likely for right now. And based off of trends with Colorado 5th, because Jeff Crank underperformed, I believe this was Ken Buck's old district. I believe I could be wrong. Let me know in the comments if I was wrong about that. He only won by like around 14 or so. I think this one probably does. It probably is like maybe safe, just barely. But it probably could even be likely to. I'll keep it as likely for right now because I don't even know what's going to happen there. In a Colorado third, Jeff Hurd, he should win by around a lean margin. Adam Frisch, the only reason he really ran for the seat was because he was like more of like an anti-Lauren Boebert Democrat. He didn't really have nothing to really run on this time around. He didn't have much of that good of a fundraising advantage overall in this district. Donald Trump ended up helping Jeff Hurd across the finish line in the state. He should probably do well in this district. I don't see Democrats flipping it unless we see polling data proving otherwise overall. He should win by like around 1 to 3 points as of right now. Colorado 8th, this one could really go down to the wire. It is one of those weird Republican trending districts in the state of Colorado. It's got a. Let me take a look at this here because I need to just see. I don't really have a map that I could pull up there. Let me see. Yeah. So there is a lot more like Republican voters in this part of the district than there are Democrats in this part of the district overall. And I do believe that Donald Trump did it again. He did carry Gabe Evans doing better in a lot of like Colorado's rural and suburban areas, bringing out Republican voters, bringing out Hispanic voters in the state of Colorado as a whole. Donald Trump only ended up losing Colorado by, I believe, around 11 points when he lost it by around 14 in 2020. Gabe Evans, he could hold on. I think Democrats are going to narrowly flip this one back, but this one definitely could flip back in 2028 as well. So this is the first flip I have for Democrats. And then I forgot this one in El Paso as well. That one's going to be safe for the Democrats. Alaska, just to get this one out of the way, if Patola does a run, it's going to be likely, and I think she's probably going to aim for running for governor, but until I see otherwise, we're going to keep that one as likely. Eli Crane over in Arizona, moving over into Arizona. I think Yavapai is probably going to carry him over the finish line by a little bit under 10 points. Yavapai is where most of like the population is in this district, and it's got a lot more Republican voters in this part of the district. There's not really that much that Democrats could get over in the northeastern portion. There's only so much voters they're going to be able to gain, so this one is going to be likely for Eli Crane. And then David Schweikert over in, I want to get this right, over in Arizona first. All right, my bad. He is typically an underperformer in his district. He only narrowly won in 2022, but in 2024, I think he did a lot better. Let me see if it's got it right here. Yeah, he won by round 3. He only won by like around like under a point in 2022. He outperformed Donald Trump a little bit in the district, which is surprising. I think right now, David Schweikert probably does hold on by around maybe 2 points or so in that district. And then we got Juan Ciscomani's district. Juan Ciscomani, the only reason I believe he won is because the Green Party dragged the Democrat candidate down in this district. I think right now I'm going to label this one as the Democratic flip, just as of right now based off that factor. I believe if Donald Trump hadn't been on the ballot and the Green Party wasn't on the ballot, Ciscomani would have lost. I believe he's probably going to lose as of right now. And that is the state of Arizona. And then Vasquez, I believe that is the candidate in New Mexico. Yep, Gabriel Vasquez. Yvette Hero, I think she did worse here this time around. I can't really check though, but I believe she did worse in 2024 this time around. I think this one's probably gonna be safe for Vasquez because Democrats ended up gerrymandering the map to include more like college educated portions of the state and like more liberal portions of like the northern part of New Mexico, where southern New Mexico is mostly like um, hard red conservative level areas along the state of New Mexico. They ended up splitting up Albuquerque into three districts, so that's why Democrats are doing well in the state of New Mexico. So Vasquez should win by around a likely margin. So moving on over into the state of Texas, we got Henry Cuellar's district. Now Henry Cuellar tends to be mostly an overperformer for Democrats in his district. He has a lot of appeals to Hispanic areas. However, he did underperform a little bit from his 2020 result in a lot of these like Texas, southern Texas areas, where Donald Trump ended up winning southern Texas for the first time in history as a Republican when it's been mostly like a Democratic and reliable Democratic stronghold. But again, Latinos in Texas and across the United States in the 2024 election shifted heavily into the Republican column, basically confirming the realignment for Hispanics into the Republican column. But Henry Cuellar typically does have good appeal to a lot of oil and gas industry workers here and a lot of like working Latino men and women, especially more of like the non-college educated Democratic Hispanic voters that have been Democrats have voted for Donald Trump. They ended up backing Henry Cuellar. Now the thing for Henry Cuellar is that if he doesn't run, this is a district that Republicans could pick up. But if he does run again, he probably does narrowly win, but his margin of victories are getting very, very, very close over time. I thought he would win relatively safe based off of his appeal to this area, though, but it is massively shifting into the Republican column, and it is only a matter of time. Now, Henry Cuellar has a lot of scandals behind him. He is facing calls to resign and possibly like impeachment surrounding that. He may resign because of like some scandals behind him apparently. So if he does end up resigning, this one definitely could be in Republicans' favor. But for right now, I will keep this one as a lean deed hole for Cuellar. Over here in Texas's 34th, Vincent Gonzalez, he only won by a very slim margin. In Texas's 34th, he only won by 2 points, where Donald Trump won the district by around 4 points or so. Now, Myra Flores ran against him twice in this district. Myra Flores is not necessarily the greatest candidate overall. When she was in Congress for like that little bit of a portion throughout 2022, she voted for amnesty, which is not necessarily like the greatest thing you should be doing as a Republican. She advocated heavily for legalized immigration, which is not necessarily that popular within the Republican Party nowadays, especially as the Republican Party typically is moving more to the right on the issue of immigration. The old days of being pro legal immigration are starting to fade. I don't think the Republicans are going to flip this, at least yet. It's probably going to be a little bit longer before they're able to flip it, but for right now, I'm going to keep that one as lean D for Gonzalez. Over in Florida, Anna Paulina Luna should win relatively comfortably by around like 6 or 7 points. She won by like around 8 points with Donald Trump on the ballot, I believe. I don't know if her district is on here. It is not. So let me go over here. Yeah, she only ended up winning by like around 9 points or so. I think she's probably going to win a little bit less just because of the environment potentially being Democratic. And then over here, there are some South Florida districts that are going to be interesting to watch here for the Democrats, and that is Florida 22nd and Florida 25th. Debbie Wasserman Schultz only won by like around 9 or 8 points, I believe, and then Franco only won by like around 10. And Florida Knife was also competitive in 2022, but that was mainly because of Ron DeSantis' presence on the ballot. So he probably will hold based on that factor alone. These districts are going to be something to watch, but I think both of these right now, I'm going to put Frankel as safe, but Wasserman as likely. Missouri, that one should be likely. And then over here in Nebraska, we'll move towards Don Bacon. Typically is an overperformer when everyone expects him to lose. Oh, Don Bacon's going to lose. And even I thought he would potentially lose in 2024 because of Donald Trump potentially doing worse in Nebraska's 2nd district. But he ended up winning by like around 1 point or so, overperforming Donald Trump by like 4 or 5 points in his district. Dan Osborne is potentially running for this seat for the Democrats as an independent. I don't think Democrats would field a candidate if he decided to run. I think there is a chance that Democrats are probably going to flip the seat. I know I should put this one as like an independent flip, but I'm going to put this one as Democrats just because I believe that Osborne would caucus with the Democrats if he was in the House. Because as an independent, you cannot get any positions or like any committee assignments or anything if you do not align with the party. So I do think he will align with the Democratic Party because of Nebraska's second partisan lean. Moving over in Iowa, Zach Anon, depending on how some of the cities vote over here, it probably could be a little bit competitive, but I think that Zach Anon should hold on relatively easily. Now, Mary Miller Meeks in Iowa 2nd, I believe that is. Yeah, Marionette Miller Meeks in Iowa 1st, I should say. She only won by around 800 votes. Now, she's not really liked by Republicans, Independents, or Democrats throughout her district. She only won very narrowly in 2020 as well. She got carried by the top of ticket in 2022 and barely won in 2024. I think if she's not primary, Democrats are going to flip the seat. If she is primaried, Republicans do hold that seat, and that's pretty much all I got to say there. Over in Wisconsin, this one's going to be interesting to watch. Brian Steele's district could be likely, but I'm going to keep it safe for right now, just based off of the way the map's drawn. And Van Orden being an underperformer, he ran against a good Democrat in 2024, but again, Trump was on the top of the ticket to energize the Driftless areas, and if they do vote Democrat or don't turn out, there's a potential the Democrats probably do flip this district, and I'm going to put it in their column as of right now. And then Angie Craig, she's probably going to end up running for higher office, but I'm going to keep this one as a likely just because there's not really too many Republican challengers that will go there. But what I was saying on Wisconsin, the Supreme Court race is going to determine the way the map is going to be drawn in Wisconsin. And this is going to mainly impact Brian Steele and Van Orden's district. If Democrats win the Supreme Court again and retain it, they are going to most likely redraw the congressional map because they already did so for the legislator maps in the 2024 year. Now, if Republicans win, this map probably stays, and maybe Van Orden will probably win. But for right now, I think that Van Orden being an underperformer, potentially the fact that Democrats are up right now, Van Orden is most likely going to lose his district. In Indiana first, don't really see this one being competitive all that much. Michigan, Kristen McDonald-Revich, she did pretty well over in Michigan 8th. I think she's probably going to do pretty well, especially with the ancestral Democrat vote, probably not voting overwhelmingly Republican like it did for Donald Trump in that district. So Republicans are not going to be able to pull off that district. They do have a chance at the 7th, though, with Tom Barrett possibly running for re-election again. If Tom Barrett runs for higher office, Democrats probably do get this district back, but if he runs again, it's probably going to remain Tildar. John James, he should win pretty easily because of the Macomb County portion of his district being a pretty ancestrally Democrat, but overwhelmingly, Macomb County is becoming one of those counties that is moving over into Republican column as the Republican Party moves over towards populism. Ohio. This is a state that's going to be pretty interesting to watch as far as the mid-decade redistricting goes for Ohio, and it's potential that Republicans get both of these districts, depending on the way that they are drawn. So I'm going to go ahead and put both of these into a Republican column. I think that Captor, she's typically an overperformer in her district, so I think it's going to be close either way. But I forgot the Democrat's name here. Sykes, she probably is going to go down regardless. Depending on the way the district is drawn there. Let's see, did I miss anything? All right, we're going to move over to some northeastern areas now. Now, over here in Pennsylvania 17th, this one should remain Democratic. Maryland 1st, I want to say, up 6. The wife of Colin Delaney, April Delaney, she should win pretty easily. I think it's going to be around a likely margin or so. All right, I think we will start off, unless if I don't see any likely districts up for, and New Hampshire, both these are going to probably be likely just as of right now, because I really don't see any Republicans really contesting these seats as of right now. Pappas is going to run for higher office, but that's not going to matter a whole lot. And then George Logan, if he runs again, he probably could make this a little bit competitive, but I still think that in a midterm environment, without it being a Republican-leaning year at the congressional level, I think Democrats should probably win this one by around a likely margin. And in New Jersey, just to get this one out of the way, the 9th District got a little bit competitive in 2024 because of the Hispanic vote and as well as like the Jewish and Italian population moving over to the right. A lot of voting groups, especially minorities, moved mostly, like they shifted hard towards the right in New Jersey, which led to Donald Trump only losing the state of New Jersey by around 5 points when he lost it by 16 to Joe Biden in 2020. I think this one's probably going to be likely as of right now. We'll see what happens there. And then, all right, now let's get into Pennsylvania. So we'll start off with the Pennsylvania 10th District, Scott Perry. Scott Perry narrowly won this district in 2024. Donald Trump definitely carried him above the ballot, and that's the same with a lot of these Republican candidates. The Freedom Caucus doesn't really do that well in suburban districts as a whole, and this one is more of like a suburban district. It is having some leftward trends in some of these areas around here. Scott Perry is a really good fit for the district. I think if the same challenger runs against him again, which there's a potential for that to happen, or if Democrats find a strong challenger, he probably does get knocked off. And then as far as some of these other districts go, I think the A4 remain in Republicans' hands because of potentially not a strong challenger in its district. And then I think Susan Wild's old district, which now holds Ryan McKenzie. I think with the national environment being a little bit more Democratic friendly, he's probably going to go down as of right now. Moving over into Virginia, I think Vindman, he was caught in some scandals in 2024 surrounding his campaign and finances, I believe. He ended up winning pretty easily, not easily, but rather comfortably. He won by like around 2 points. That's around the margin that Spanberger won by. She won by around 2 to 4 points. So he outperformed Harris by a little bit. I don't see this being that competitive. I could be wrong, but we'll see what happens there. And then I expect Jen Kiggins to hold on narrowly in the 2nd District. And then to get North Carolina out of the way, Chuck Edwards' district probably could be a little bit competitive. I'll put that one as likely there. And then North Carolina first. I believe if Sandy Smith had ran in 2024, she probably would have won this district because of energizing more of the base and working class voters to come out in this district. But Don Davis got lucky with a mediocre Republican challenger. I don't see him losing this district. It probably does flip eventually, but right now he's probably going to win pretty easily by like around 2 or 3 points. And then moving over into that New Jersey district, in the 7th, that is Tom Keene. He ended up outperforming Donald Trump in the district by a lot. I think he's probably going to win pretty easily. He should have no problem winning, probably by around like 3 or 4 points again there in that district. And then we'll move over to New York last because we got some seats to talk about. But let's go ahead and start off with Maine first before we move over into that. Now, Jared Golden probably might run for governor in this case. He declined to run for Senate against Susan Collins, so that's out of the picture. If he runs again, Democrats probably do hold this. If he runs for governor, there's a chance that Paul LePage runs, and he's probably going to flip this district into Republican hands. So that one's just whether who runs or not. So we're going to keep an eye on that one there. Again, if Golden runs, probably a Democrat district. If not, Paul LePage should flip it, no problem. And now let's move over to New York, where this one definitely you could see some flips for Republicans in the New York City area as well as upstate if Mike Lawler runs. If Mike Lawler doesn't run, Democrats probably do hold or flip this district of Mike Lawler's pretty easily. Kathy Hochul doesn't really have the greatest popularity. She's only sitting at around a 30 to 40% approval. If Michael Lawler gets this extremely competitive, you could see a number of these seats flip in 2026. I think Michael Lawler should find a decent challenger, and with him on the top of the ticket, potentially running for governor, Republicans should hold that district, no problem. And then I forgot who these are over here. Tom Suozzi and then Laura Gillen. Yeah, I think both of these are going to stay Democratic right now. Suozzi's district and Gillen's district are both trending to the right. But I think in a Democratic leaning year, I think in 2028 these probably could flip for Republicans, and it most likely will. But for right now, I think Suozzi is going to perform well enough to win the district again, and then Gillen should win pretty easily as well. And then the 19th, Mark Molinaro, he was a pretty terrible candidate for this district in particular. I think that this one probably does flip if Mike Lawler runs, but for right now, I'm going to keep it Democratic just until we see otherwise who ends up running for the district and what the environment is like in New York. So that's my final map. 220 seats for Democrats to 215. Again, Republicans could very well keep control of the House, but considering the fact that Donald Trump won 230 of these districts, where Republicans only won 220 districts in 2024, Republicans do have a history of not performing as well at the House level. As you can see in 2022, they fumbled the ball in getting a lot of House districts in. 2024, they were expected to gain some seats by some analysts and pundits, but they didn't. And overall, I think that as of right now, Democrats should win the House by around a 2-seat majority, and that is going to be today's video. Again, I'm sorry if this was a little bit lackluster. I promise I will make a better video when we get more data on many of these races, but for right now, this is what I have for you guys. And with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Make sure you leave a like down below. Subscribe to the channel if you're new or if you enjoyed today's content. Hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss out on any future videos. Questions, thoughts, concerns, or comments can go in the comment section below this video. And I will see you guys in the next video. Take care, everyone, and have a great day.